and I'm proud to be an American. All right, let's start this thing. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Before the Rise podcast. Man, oh man, today is a pretty good day to do a podcast. The reason why is because it's the day right after the elections. A lot of crazy stuff has happened. I'm literally posting on the day of that I'm creating this video, but man, it's been a hectic election, if I can say the least. I wanted to share a couple of things with you guys that I think would probably make you guys look at the winner differently and also the loser differently. And honestly, if there is even a winner in the case of being a middle class person, now I sound like Kamala Harris. I came from a middle class family. I came from a low class family. I had no money, okay? But let's look at it and let's dive today deep into the sense of like who is genuinely the winner of all this, right? Is it the billionaires? Is it the millionaires? Is it the poor class? Is it the people that are making the majority of the money in the world? Or is it the people that have nothing, that have no homes, that have student debt like myself, and so on and so forth? There's a couple things I wrote down immediately that I wanted to go over with you guys, and I'm just going to jump right into this. But I think one of the things that I noticed immediately was how much backlash Trump got in the aspect of him becoming president. Last night, I saw the race. I stayed up till probably like 1, 2 o'clock. I watched the whole race till Trump basically gave his winning speech, right? He said that I want to thank everyone and all that at Florida, if I'm not mistaken, at that headquarters. But immediately right after, when he won, there was a sense of relief, a part of me, and a sense of worry being a part of me too. And the reason why I say this is because you have to realize that Trump winning does a lot of good and bad in two ways. And those two ways are, one, the good is the economy most likely will increase and inflation will decrease. We'll have better job opportunities. Unemployment rates will go down, things like that. Because, I mean, the guy has studied for a majority of his life over decades of, trying to be financially stable and make businesses flourish. Now, on the flip side of that is, how is the Middle East going to handle this? How is Palestine going to retrieve this, right? How is Israel going to enforce their goals and what they want? And what is the bigger picture here? And when we look at this, there's so many minute things that we can actually jump into that would probably take an hour to 2 hour long podcast. But to give you guys the spectrum of how this will affect us and how we can basically grow from this, is that it comes down to basically our intention, our true goal as a country, as people individually, as a individual religion or many religions, whatever you want to say. It comes down to a few things that we can do to make it better. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up is when Trump won, I was watching Cron 4 News. I'm from the Bay Area in California, and California is a Democratic state, right? I mean, if California was Republican, Trump would have won very quickly. But the race that made basically even Kamala Harris get close to Trump, or relatively even near in the realm for it to not be a sweep out, was California. Regardless of the fact, California, majority of it, I think it was over 60% of it, was a red state. It wasn't a blue state. It was just the Bay Area and these areas that are more dense populated with liberal people. It became a blue area. And in case you guys don't know what a blue and red area is, red is the color for the Republicans, blue is for the color of the Democrats. So Trump wins, and immediately I turn on the TV to see to that news station that I'm familiar with, and they bring this guy named James Taylor, Professor James Taylor. I'm pretty sure he's from the Bay Area as well, if I'm not mistaken. And he was there throughout the night, and the things that he was saying and how the Republican, in regards to the contrast of Democrats, how they were representing their parties, it was relatively disturbing to see. And I say this because the Republican Party that was there with him while they were talking to the news anchors and journalists, they were calm. They kept themselves calm. They didn't try to overly do it. And when I saw this, I was like, you know what? This is a very refreshing thing to see, because you're not looking at someone that's trying to enforce one winner, or show an insecurity of he might lose. It's a confident person that is standing against their opponent and just watching and understanding how they may win or lose, won't affect their character, and applying that right then and there, versus the Democratic person, which was James Taylor. And I wrote his name down. The reason why was because it disturbed me so much. He goes on to say, like, well, I saw Trump just win, and when he gave his speech for winning on his panel, there was not one black person on there. There was not one diverse group there. It was just J.D. Vance's wife that was diverse. There was no one else there. The whole front row was all white people, and it's all white. So the country shows that it's a white country. And he was an African American, a black guy himself. And I looked at that and I said, look how much he's playing the victim card. And I'm not trying to back up Trump, but it's the idea of, because he likes to pick and choose his own team, it makes him now a white supremacist, right? And again, this is not for me to tell you I pick one side over the other. The reason why is because for me, I think there's a lot more loss at stake here than there is at winning. Because, I mean, I was there when Trump was president in the first term. Now it's the second term. Hopefully he changes things. There's a lot of things he did wrong in the first term too, where I can clearly tell you that I'm pretty sure he's learned from, and one of those being completely blatant or acting bilious towards journalists, acting a little bit more arrogant. Now it's, I think, maybe brought down a little bit to see more of a leadership role and how he can be a leader rather than, someone that's an enforcer. Regardless of the fact, I wrote this down because it really upset me. We, as colored people, I'm Afghan, right? I like to consider myself as colored. I'm in the middle of color, in a sense. We, as in all colored people, brown people and whatnot, like to immediately pick the victim card and go, well, there's no black people representation. There's no Afghan representation. There's no this representation. There's no that representation. Now, there's parts that I've seen, I could say racism does happen. It's not like it's obsolete and it's not there. It does happen. However, there's certain things where it comes down to the characteristics, the qualifications, and the traits of a person and how they can basically be in that role. The reason why I'm saying this is because if I was president, you guys might consider the fact like, oh, if you were president, you'd pick all your own people. And your own people could be people of different races, or it could be all black, or it could be all white, or it could be all Afghan, whatever, any race, all Mexican. I would go with whoever's qualified the most, right? And that means that you got to do some diligent work to find out who's there with you and then present them. And honestly, there's a good team that he has. Trump has a good team of people. Like, he wanted to bring RFK on there. He's also, in talks with Elon Musk. He's bringing people that are in tune with the world a little bit and actually making changes. And this is just some of the many, like Jill Stein. We have Vivek. All these people, Vivek Ramaswamy, I think his name is, like, these guys, all these guys are supporting Trump. Why is that? It's not because he's just a Republican. They want to support him because they believe in him. And when you think about it, these people are all colored. The majority of them are, right? If they're not completely white, they're from a different descent, or they're immigrants. There's people that don't, just grow up with money or came out of money, or some of them did come out of money and understand money. But it's a diverse group. It's not just one type of group. And I realized this the moment I saw that this guy, Professor Taylor, I'm going to see if I can find a picture to put up for you guys. This man immediately put up the fact that, oh, we're just 100% being belittled, and Trump is just all white. He just wanted only white people there. I can see the next 4 years is going to be detrimental to all of our happiness and success. And it's like, hold on, let's backtrack for a second. Let's look back at the past 4 years. What happened in the past 4 years that really made, progress for all colored people? The fact that they could steal, right? The fact that they can go kill people, the fact that they can come as migrants and not get told anything. How is that improving the country? Ask yourself that question, because for me, I keep going back to the idea of what is it that we want? And we all talk about diversity, but is that what we actually really need? Or is it more of something we want to kind of claim and say, oh, it's just an ego boost for us? So saying that having colored people in office is going to make it better it's a logical fallacy. It's a false generalization that you're making based off of some small samples or your feelings. And that is where I was going to get to with you guys, is we are constantly thinking with our feelings. Like, these professors, people that are well educated, it astonishes me to think that these guys are talking about the fact that they want to be a notion for good change, but tell everyone basically oh, you know what? It doesn't matter what person is qualified. It matters if we're diverse. It matters if our feelings are good. It matters if we are nice to each other. When in reality, that's not the way it should go. I mean, look at some of the most successful countries in the world aside from the United States, because the United States is not the super successful one. We're not high in almost anything. Think about it. We're the highest in maybe like the body fat ratio of people that are fat in their country. We have some of the most obese people in the world living in the United States. Why is that, right? These are things that we don't tackle, but we tackle, like, for example, saying, oh yeah, it matters if a black woman is in charge because we're going to feel included, or a Middle Eastern because we're going to feel included, or an Asian because we're going to feel included. What matters if you feel included when they don't do what you want them to do? What you need to be done, or what you need to have to be done, basically, what the laws are to help us aren't being applied. For example, Prop 36, right? We had all people of color in Alameda County, in basically like San Francisco and, for example, Oakland, all these major cities in the California in the state of California, especially like San Francisco. You had a black person running it. What good did it bring? Oh, because we get to kind of like kumbaya together. Who gives a shit, right? I couldn't go to I couldn't go to San Francisco for the life of me to be safe there. You would never be able to take me there. I stopped going to San Francisco because of that reason. I, in fact, thought about moving to Colorado. I thought about moving to Idaho, somewhere far. And the reason why was because I thought about how much is it affecting my wellness and my happiness. And honestly, look at the crime rates. And that is a testament of how much things were bad when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were in office. And a lot of people go like, well, Trump is a felon. Trump is this. Trump is that. Look, whether he's a felon, whether he's not, he's your president now. I say, give him the due diligence that you would give any president. There's far worse presidents like Andrew Jackson, George W. Bush, Obama. And a lot of people go, and this is another thing, right? When Obama became president and he was the first black president, everyone was like, we won. We got the first black president. Obama did wonders for the country, blah, blah, blah. This. Honestly, what did Obama do for the world? What did Obama do for the country? Think about it. Did he make a lot of differences? Did he try to bring unity amongst all of us? Or was he just another cash grab on what he wanted to do in regards to winning, or in regards to, let's say, his agendas and motives, or the agenda and motives that are told to him, right? Think about it, because a lot of people don't. And a lot of people go, Obama, he's black, he was a president, we won, that's it. But not really. There was more wars and deaths during Obama's time and Joe Biden's administration than in the past 3-4 decades almost, including even George W. Bush. If you combined Obama and Joe Biden's terms together, there's been more deaths than ever, over 250, 300,000, right? Obama came out and even declared war. I believe it was on Yemen, or it was Lebanon. I totally forgot. It was like almost 10, 12 years ago. When I watched this myself, I was like, this guy came out on a Saturday, declared war. On a Monday, he went back to the state or the Senate, and the House said, no, you're not. Like, you're not going to just call war without our consent. And then he retracted his statement. So that man wanted to call war. That man wanted to create more problems. And a lot of people died in the Middle East during that administration. A lot of people died in let's not even go to Obama. Let's stick with just Joe Biden. His administration let genocide happen in Palestine. Whether you agree or not, a lot of Palestinians died. A lot of them. Whether you are pro-Israeli or you're pro-Palestine, I don't care which, a lot of innocent Palestinians died. Also Israelis, however, a lot of Palestinians died, over 100,000. And you can't tell me all 100,000 was terrorists. There's little kids, watch the video yourself, little kids just in blood asking for their mom. You're telling me whoever supports Israel and says, oh, well, this is actually for freedom, or this is for us to live safe. You're telling me those little kids are murdering you, are killing you? Those little kids that have lost everyone, they're going to be alone forever. They're going to be an orphan. While you sit your fat ass here and eat a burger, those little kids are going to be orphans. And guess what? No one's going to be able to help them, right? And why? Because we want to only help ourselves. And that's the thing. A lot of people go, for example, oh, Kamala Harris is and Joe Biden were gonna give trans right. Who gives a shit about trans right when innocent children are dying? Who cares? You're grown as fuck. Do you think it matters? Do you think it truly matters for you being grown and you are choosing your gender? Is that above the humanity of a child dying? Absolutely not. And if you think otherwise, then you're so far out of the reality and so out of tune with humanity that I don't even know what to say to help you. And honestly, I'm at a point where I realized this, where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, he says, you cannot convince a non-believer if they choose not to be non-believer, right? If they choose to be blind, they will be blind. And there's many accounts during all the other prophets' lives, and especially Prophet Muhammad, it was very prominent where he showed how he is the messenger of God, and non-believers decided to still stay as non-believers because their ego and pride would get hurt if they said, you know what, we were going to bow down to your God, rather than say, you know what, we're wrong, or we're right. So you look at this and you go, what is it that the United States wants? What is it that all these people that are running for candidacy want? And what is it that we're feeding ourselves and trying to do? And why are we fighting each other when in reality we should be fighting like alongside each other, not with each other, not in the sense of against each other, but we should come together and make a change in the world, make a difference. Like, there is genocide, there is death in African countries, there's death in China of honestly innocent people. I don't even want to say which religion because you might be like, oh, you're being biased, but there's innocent people dying. There's innocent people dying around the world. United States likes to play the big brother of a lot of things. We like to say, oh, everything is good. How are we going to claim as us being the top country in the world when we can't even fix our own people? Our own people are fighting each other. Like, delusional people are fighting. And I'm telling you delusional because we have little kids with a microphone and an audience, and they're, I want to debate this person, I want to debate that person, I want to do this, I want to do that. Yeah, I believe Kamala Harris is the best person in the world because we had 355,000 more jobs in this. Dude, let's put all that away for a second and just think about this. What good are we doing for each other? Are we coming together or are we going apart? And ask yourself this. If you're so fed up with the Republican Party, if you're so fed up with the Democratic Party, why don't you vote for a Green Party or a Libertarian? Or why don't you go for Jill Stein or something? You don't. Why? Because you go back to inherently following the crowd. And that's what I've noticed. A lot of Democrats that are like, oh, we hate Trump. And we had no other choice. So we voted for Kamala because Kamala is better than Trump. No, there's better votes than Kamala, and there's better votes than Trump. There's better people you can vote for. Vivek was a number one example. Vivek Ramaswamy, I think is his name. Again, I'm not too sure. Let me double check. Yeah, Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy was a great candidate to become a president. Absolutely great. He had such great points, even though certain things were clouded that wasn't completely clear in the sense of his business. Regardless of that and what claims were made, he had some great points for us to follow up with, and they didn't. People didn't want to vote for him. People wanted to vote for either Trump or vote for Kamala or Joe. First it was Joe, and then he's left the campaign and gave it to Kamala, and then Kamala was the Democratic Party nominee. Like, everything's a joke. Look at around us. This is a joke. We were voting for people that are both low-key kind of like clowns. And I'm not saying that I don't like Trump, but I'm saying there's a lot of things that could be learned and taught better if we look at other leaders of the world. Look, you might disagree with me and say that Putin is a bad leader, but I will die on the hill to tell you that no, he's not. He knows how to carry himself. Whether he's a good leader for his people or not, whether he's setting policies that are good or not, let's put all that aside. He knows how to carry himself. He knows how to walk into a room and make sure that people know he's a president of a country that's a powerhouse. And ours doesn't do that. The past 4 years, our president was going on a bike and falling, yelling at the teleprompter, and we're sitting there going, yeah, I can't wait to vote for this shit show again. Can't wait for Kamala to do the same thing. So think about it, guys. Why is it that we're supporting a group? How is it really affecting us? And is it the right group to support, right? Is it the right group to say, I'm going to support and be a part of? Because if it's not, why are we even entertaining the thought? Why are we even saying, and why are we even blaming others for our mistakes? And this notion of all this was in my head. Like, this was a schmeal I wanted to give you guys, because I think we, instead of coming together, I've been watching the news and I stopped. I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, everyone, they did their votes. The election's done. I'm done. But everyone just wanted to constantly talk bad about each other. I see Democrats talking bad about the Republicans. Republicans are talking bad about the Democrats, and the youth is like hitting each other. There's people on my Instagram writing like, you voted for a felon, and just know that he was a rapist and this and that, and you did that, and you did this, and it's like, yeah. So who'd you want to vote for? You wanted to vote for Kamala Harris, the person that committed genocide, that wasn't even convicted, but actually committed genocide, over 100,000 individual innocents. And I'm sorry, that doesn't matter, but a convicted rapist matters. I'm not saying one is above the other, but let's just put it into perspective. One versus 100,000 deaths. Let's just look at the numbers. What matters more, 100,000 innocent people or one person that did one crime, right? Whether he was convicted or not, let's put that to the side. Let's just look at it logistically. 100,000 people dying plus, and that's just what's accounted for. 100,000 plus individuals that are innocent are dying, and we took it lightly the whole 4 years. And even now, that's why I say, like, if you're a Trump supporter, don't be all happy and throwing your bottles of champagne in the air and popping them and having fun. Let's see what he's really going to do. He was saying a lot of things like, I'm going to help the Muslim community, I'm going to stop the war in Gaza. And if he does, then yeah, that's great. I'm looking for a president in the United States that's going to bring peace, that will take away wars, that will take away poverty, that will help increase financial stability, that will give freedom where it's due, that will let people live the way they want to live without enforcing it on others, and live cohesively together without having to basically cause war. And honestly, from those two candidates, Trump seems like he could do that better than Kamala. Kamala, like, to put it as a prominent example of how she would have ran the state or the country, look at California. California is a shit show because of all the propositions of letting people do illegal activities, committing theft, murder, whatever, and just getting off with it. So these things you have to consider before you jump the gun and talk bad about someone else or make claims like, this is my president, that's my president, I'm going to die for her, I'm going to die for him. So don't be stupid. Don't be stupid like that. A lot of people are very stupid and they don't want to fix it. And another thing to mention is, look at the people that were supporting each party, right? I for one was paying attention really well with the sense of like who was making the impressions for each party, what were they trying to say, and why were they saying it. For Kamala Harris's party, there was an abundant amount of people that were on Diddy's list or Diddy's parties or celebrities that are very low-class celebrities supporting her. She brought Megan Thee Stallion twerking on stage. How does that have to do anything with politics? She brought another girl that was just talking about like random things like licking her cooch on stage to basically promote like Kamala Harris. She brought out Eminem. She brought out like the only person that was probably somewhat qualified to talk about financial, stability was Mark Cuban, and even he had faults. Even Mark Cuban had faults on what he was saying, and I'm saying this from just a third perspective. Looking at it, there's things he was saying right, I agree, and then there's certain things I was saying like, that doesn't sound right. You're making this up, or you're trying to cater towards her more. She brought Jennifer Lopez out. She brought like random people. You're bringing people that are all Jewish Israeli supporters, or you're bringing people that are, completely on the outskirts of reality, like they live in La La Land, and you're telling them to promote your politics. In this past election, I noticed one thing. It was a battle of who's more popular, who can make more of an impression, and who can bring all the youngsters together for them and do all the cool things. And then you look at the contrast of that on Kamala Harris's campaign. You look at Trump's rallies. He brought out billionaires like Elon Musk. He brought out well-informed people. He brought out people that can make a difference. Grant Cardone was one that I wasn't like too fond of. I was like, okay, relax. Like, Grant Cardone isn't really that crazy, but I realized also that Trump maybe didn't know everyone that was coming on there and was speaking for him, but he might have, or he's just playing it that he doesn't know. Who knows, right? Again, it came down to a popularity contest, right? And it came down to who can basically appeal to the mass, who can bring this singer, this actor, this actress, this billionaire, this millionaire, and talk about things that honestly like has nothing to do with what they are. Like Beyonce. Why did Beyonce come and talk about Kamala Harris? And why did she even present Kamala Harris? Why did she say we need to vote? Right? Think about it. Like, who is Beyonce? What is it that she represents? Look at her music. Look at herself. I told you guys, these are people that you look at and you go, you are a wicked person. You're a nasty person and you're representing some nasty things. And you're coming here motivating the youth to brainlessly go into the mass and explode their emotions onto the next person and reflect how they feel. And when you take a step back, you realize the bigger agenda here was to put two very hyper sensitive groups to battle against each other to get some commotion to hide away other things. And what I mean is, there is, on the day of election, they tested a hypersonic nuclear missile on the day of election. The hypersonic nuclear missile goes up to, and I'm going to quote this, 15,000 miles per hour. That's what they're estimating. It can travel from one side to the other side of the world at any moment. It can get at anywhere within 30 minutes. Okay? So what you're looking at is basically United States preparing for World War III or for a war. And people don't pay attention to this. They go, oh, we have two candidates we need to vote for that matter so much. But what about the things that are happening behind closed doors, right? And this is where I get upset with people like Candace Owens or whatever, Andrew Tate, or anybody, that they talk about one political party or another, but they don't talk about what is the agenda. And I mean, Andrew Tate relatively does an okay job at that sometimes, not all the time. But when you look at it, it's like, what is it that they're doing behind closed doors? If you think Trump and Kamala Harris are the problem, they're not. They're definitely not. There's an agenda. There is a whole different objective, and those two are just faces of a group. The people behind that group, the people that are a part of the decision-making process, those are the people you got to be worried about. Those are the things you got to check and see what's going on. Like a hypersonic nuclear missile was tested on election day. Why is it? Why is that? Ask yourself that question. Because you know everyone's attention's on the election. That's why it's so easy to manipulate and do what you want to do when it comes to, controlling the mass. It's so easy. And that's why I'm telling you that the reason why our families and how our foundations are made and things like how are we living the American dream and stuff like that are important is because it affects us right away. It affects us if we pay attention to the fact that we have so many individuals lost, like they are completely lost, and they're not looking at what is it that's making a difference in our life. Rather, they're looking at how can I be the next upcoming problem or trend, or hop on a trend, or get on a bandwagon with a bunch of people to vote for this person or that person and to make a change. And I'm gonna look so cool to X, Y, and Z. Instead, they're so focused on that rather than going, how are we really getting affected by this whole agenda that's around us? Whether it's this person running for, Democrats or Republicans, whatever it is, let's focus on how is our lives really changing rather than believing the lies that are told to us from a presidential candidate, honestly. So these are some things that I think a lot of people need to think about. Why are we bringing unqualified people to talk about presidents and to get people to basically endorse them so they can make a change and a difference? And what are the intentions? What are the intentions we're trying to use when it comes to helping others? Is it really good or is it for our own benefit? And honestly, like, where do we go from here? Ask yourself that question. Where do we go from here where we have a new president that can be controversial, and this controversy can lead to a lot of problems, or it can lead to unifying us, right? And I urge you guys, if you're a Democrat, learn about the Republicans, and if you're a Republican, learn about the Democratic Party. If you're far left, look at the far right, and if you're far right, look at the far left. Instead of being so emotional, instead of being so childish, so ignorant, arrogant, prideful, nasty, egotistical, dumb, and I'm talking about the young people, instead of being so lost, why don't you look at the fact that how can we make this world a better place with unifying with each other and the people next to us, even if they're different beliefs, but respecting them and not enforcing our belief on them? And how can we live in cohesiveness without having to disturb someone else's peace of mind? If someone else is not asking me to be gay, that's okay. Let go, be gay. That's your life. That's free will. That's why God put us on this earth, to control what we want to do, because it's our own will. And if someone's not telling me to convert to this religion and they're doing their own thing, then that's fine. If you're not killing people, that's fine. If you're not murdering individuals that are innocent, not committing genocide, if you're not robbing, if you're not lying, and you're just doing your own thing, and honestly, that's just living in peace. Or let's say you're praying to Satan, but you love Satan so much, and that's your your intent goal to just make him happy, but you're not contributing to any kind of crime or sin in the sense of like killing someone or hurting them, that's fine. Why do we not want to debate with each other and still be respectful? Why do we not want to have a philosophical conversation and still be respectful? Why is it that all we care about is how we can hurt the person in front of us and not better them by helping them understand our perspective? Why is it that we're so angry at each other? And that is a question I want you to ask yourself. Why is that? And I will give you one hint. It's 100% your surroundings, and it's not what you may think it is. Okay? And what I mean by that is it's not the groups that you think are the problem. It's the leaders that are the problem. And the leader is all of them. There's not one like really amazing leader that I can think of. Look at the people that you're voting for. Look at the people that you're asking to lead your country. And honestly, what are they representing? And for me, I hope that these next 4 years are good, because I'm an immigrant that came to the United States as a refugee. I came right after 9/11, so I saw the brinks of the anti-terrorism and Islamophobia. I was a child. My parents saw and I saw it, right? I came right at the peak of the problem, and I lived through it. I got my citizenship. I became a citizen of the United States. I have a job here. I have many businesses that I'm running, right? I have my own podcast. I'm contributing to the country. I'm not saying I hate it. I'm saying I'm very grateful for it. But at the end of the day, I am being honest in the sense that there's ways to grow. And I'm being honest in the sense that there are ways for us to become better. However, I'm definitely not trying to divide us. I'm trying to unify us. And I encourage and I hope that the next 4 years that you guys have this president, it can motivate you to come together to work with what's good and to wipe out what's bad or what he might recommend that's bad, instead of being like Whoopi Goldberg. And I will put that video for you guys right now. Look at the stupid reaction of Whoopi Goldberg.
To the view. Thank you for coming today. So what happened last night? Anybody do anything interesting? Okay. The 2024 presidential race ended yesterday. And this is what the country and the world woke up to this morning. Take a look.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Tens of millions of Americans, our friends, our neighbors, our family members, voted for Donald Trump. We disagree with him. I know we all do at this table, but they are good, decent people who are patriots and love this country. And I can't speak to what drove them to the conclusion of being with him, but I think it is a moment for us to listen to each other, to hear each other, express.
Anyways, this video is like a 4-minute long video. I'll end it there. Whoopi Goldberg and The View and this network was saying that they're going to move. Like Whoopi Goldberg and the whole View team, or a majority of them, are like, we're going to move if Donald Trump becomes president. First of all, pack your bags and leave. If you're caring about whoever is your president is going to deter you from living in that country and actually making it better and trying to make it better, if you're such a hardcore democratic or feminist or whatever, then leave. Then that means you had no loyalty to that country. Your whole point was to never be a part of it, and it was for a dumb movement. And Whoopi Goldberg is a prime example of a dumbass person, a dumbass colored individual. I will tell you this myself. Whether you're afraid of hearing that or not, she is dumb, and she represents colored people wrong, especially black people. She is legitimately saying that, like, some crazy things. She's like, this is not our president. He's a fascist. He's this. I hate him. I'm going to move. Or the fact when she was talking about how people aren't working hard enough and she worked hard, and that we don't deserve to live a comfortable life because we don't know what tough upbringing is. Shut up. You're a sellout. You went to the Illuminati. We know it. You know it. You're doing everything they tell you like a puppet, and you're telling us about how to live our lives in the middle class and the low class when we're actually facing difficulties where you live like a queen and you have money. Whoopi Goldberg is a dumbass, is a straight dumbass. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, don't listen to these stupid celebrities that have so much endorsement shoved up so far up their ass with money that they can say what they want to say and convince you to believe someone is better than the other. Do your homework. Be better. I promise you, I swear to God, if you actually do some homework, you will see the difference in opinion. And if you look at many accounts or many different samples of that same person or different articles of that one individual, whether it's Trump or Kamala Harris or anybody, you will see how corrupted this propaganda of a media that we have is. So relax. Everything's going to be fine, guys. I'm telling you this because I have been through it when Trump was even president, and it will work out. All you need to do is one thing: move away from this stupid glorifying and glamorizing of celebrities, and stop letting unqualified people talk about qualified things that legitimately are important to our lives. Whoopi Goldberg does not know what it means to be poor. She does not know what it means to live in a home that has $1,000 income in 2024. She does not. She has no right to tell us how to live, who should be the president, who shouldn't. I'm telling you that right now. If you're listening to a billionaire tell you how to live when you're not even making $20,000 a year, you are out of your goddamn mind. So I love you all. Thank you for watching this episode. I am excited to share more episodes with you. I hope you guys take this and grow with it, basically, and stop letting so many news medias put you against others. Someone can have different political beliefs, but doesn't mean that they're not human. If they're a Kamala supporter, still give them respect and love. And if they're a Trump supporter, give them respect and love. People are not inherently bad. People make bad mistakes and then make them basically bad people. So help them learn and grow, come in unifying terms with each other. And I believe that we can genuinely make this country even better and better, and even the world better, and help things like the genocide stop in Palestine, and save people that are innocent, rather than worry about who our president is that has endorsements by a celebrity or how much money they got. Those things don't matter. It's the changes that make our lives and others in the world better. I love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Again, you can listen to me on Spotify at Before the Rise Podcast, or you can watch me on YouTube. For the giveaway winners, I've already reached out to them. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. We had over 100 new subscribers, so I'm like at 110 or something like that. I had a great turnout. The subscriber winners were already there. I actually wrote down who even won, I think. So I reached out to them, and I wished them best of luck. I had 3 winners, but I also gave 2 extra winners some money because they were so enthusiastic about the giveaway. So thank you guys so much for the love, the appreciation, the support, and the platform where I can speak to you and give you a sense of reality. I mean, that's what Before the Rise is, right? To help you guys understand how is it that we can become better, and what is it that we can do to better ourselves and the community around us without hurting their livelihood and without making their life so bad. So I appreciate every single one of you. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.